All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're going to explore the story of a really fascinating and honestly pretty intense form of Lord Shiva. He's a protector known as Ashtanga Bhairava. So let me ask you something. What happens when the path to spirituality, to truth, just disappears? When it gets so dark you can't even take the first step? That's the question that really kicks off our entire story. And believe me, it calls for a pretty epic response. So, where do we begin? Well, like a lot of these epic tales, it starts with the world in some serious trouble. But we're not talking about a war or some natural disaster. This was something deeper, a kind of spiritual rot that was threatening to unravel everything. You have to understand just how bad things got. A kind of fog of ignorance and, unrighteousness was just spreading everywhere. And because of this, the sages, the yogis, all the people dedicated to finding wisdom, they just couldn't do their work anymore. It was like the path they were walking on was literally crumbling away beneath their feet. So totally out of options, the gods go to the big boss, right? They go to Mahadev, Lord Shiva. And their plea is basically, help. The path is gone, it's covered in darkness. We need someone, some form powerful enough to slice through all this mess and bring the way back for everyone. And Shiva's response to this cosmic crisis, well, it was incredible. He didn't just, send an angel or a warrior down to fix things. No, he did something much bigger. He manifested a completely new, grand form right from his own essence. He literally reached into himself, pulled out 8 of his most secret, most powerful energies, and fused them all together. From that incredible fusion of power, a magnificent being was born, and that was the birth of Ashtanga Bhairava. So what's a name? Well, in this case, everything. Ashtanga, in Sanskrit, means 8 limbs or 8 parts. Think of it like this. This form of Bhairava isn't just one thing. He's a perfect combination, a divine team-up of 8 totally distinct powers all working together as one. Okay, so what are these 8 powers? This is where it gets really interesting, because each one serves a very specific, a very crucial purpose for anyone on a spiritual path. And I mean anyone, back then and right now. All right, let's break these down because this is like the ultimate spiritual toolkit. First, you've got powers for your mind. Gyan Shakti, that's for pure wisdom, and Chitta Shakti, which is all about keeping your mind stable and clear. Then there are the ones that tackle your inner demons, Atma Shakti, which just demolishes fear, attachment, and doubt. Next, you've got the powers that actually fuel your practice. Karma Shakti makes sure your efforts pay off, and Kriya Shakti supercharges things like tantric practices. And then there's the big one, Kundalini Shakti, the power to awaken that dormant energy inside all of us. And finally, you have the powers of fulfillment, Anand Shakti, for that feeling of pure bliss and meditation, and Ichcha Shakti, the power to make your true intentions a reality, the whole shebang really. So now you have this incredible powerhouse of a deity walking the earth. It was only a matter of time before there was a showdown. A major evil force had been growing, and it was about to come face to face with the combined might of these 8 powers. And this big bad had a name, Aghorasura. This demon wasn't just some random monster. He was on a mission. His whole goal was to tear down the path of yoga, to spread fear everywhere, and he was so terrifying that he had sages and holy men literally running for their lives. So Ashtanga Bhairava shows up, and the description of him is just wow. Imagine this. He's radiating pure power, so bright it's hard to look at. On his forehead, the sacred ash, the tripund. And his weapons, he's got a sword, the kudge, a noose, the pash to snatch up illusions, and of course the iconic trident, the trishul. The ground itself was said to tremble from the fire coming off his feet. This wasn't just a warrior. This was divine justice in its most furious form. So the battle begins. Aghorasura's main trick, illusions. He's throwing out all sorts of deceptions, trying to confuse and misdirect Bhairava. It's all smoke and mirrors. But here's the cool part. Bhairava doesn't even flinch. He just activates his Chitta Shakti, that power of a perfectly stable, clear mind, and poof, every single one of the demon's illusions just vanishes, like they were never there. And with all his tricks gone, the demon is just standing there, completely exposed. And that's when Bhairava unleashes the final blow. He hits him with a blast of pure Kundalini Shakti. We're talking raw, cosmic, foundational energy. It was so powerful that Aghorasura was just incinerated on the spot. Gone. Turned to ash. And just like that, it was over. In one single move, the threat was gone. The demon was defeated. The darkness was cleared away. And most importantly, that single path of spiritual practice was restored. It was safe again for anyone who wanted to walk it. Okay, that's an awesome story, right? Gods, demons, cosmic battles. But you might be thinking, so what? What does any of this have to do with us today? Why should we care about this ancient protector in our modern lives? Well, here's why it matters. Because most of the battles we fight aren't against 10-foot demons. They're internal. Aghorasura is basically a symbol for all the stuff that gets in our way, the confusion, the fear, the self-doubt. And Bhairav's job didn't end when he defeated that demon. He's still considered the ultimate protector for anyone, and I mean anyone, on a journey of self-discovery. Think about it. Those 8 powers line up perfectly with the stuff we deal with every day. Feeling overwhelmed by the chaos of the world? You need that mental stability from Chitta Shakti. Struggling with your own fears or anxieties? That's what Atma Shakti is for. So he's seen as this force that helps you succeed, gives you courage, and maybe most importantly of all, he's the guardian you want on your side during something as intense as a Kundalini awakening. So, for people who are drawn to this energy and want to connect with it, tradition offers some really simple ways. It's said that certain times are especially good for this, like Saturdays or the 8th day of the lunar cycle. And the practices themselves aren't complex. Things like reciting specific mantras or making simple offerings like lighting a lamp with mustard oil are seen as ways to tune into and honor this protective power. But at the end of the day, here's the biggest takeaway from the story of Ashtanga Bhairava. It's a powerful reminder that these 8 incredible forces, wisdom, fearlessness, a stable mind, pure bliss, they aren't just something out there in a myth. They represent the potential that's already sleeping inside every single one of us. So the real question this story leaves us with is, which of those powers inside of you is waiting to be awakened?